y'all. Today we are going to use our knowledge of special angle pairs to help us find angle values. So yesterday we took a look at 6 different types of special angle pairs. We have vertical angles, same side interior angles, alternate interior angles, corresponding angles, alternate exterior angles, and linear pairs. So when we're getting started trying to find our specific angle values today, you want to make sure you know which type of angle pair you're working with, so that way you'll know if they're congruent, if they equal 180, or if we need to do something else. So here we go. Let's take a look at example A. I am trying to find the measure of angle 1. So that's our goal. So I see that angle 1 is right here, and I'm giving these 2 angle values right here. It's important to recognize that these 2 are vertical angles. So we probably want to start there so that I can figure out my numerical value of x, and then I either can do a linear pair this way or a linear pair this way. So let's go ahead and set these equal to each other because vertical angles are congruent. So 9x plus 10 is equal to 120 minus 2x. So vertical angles, and we're going to set these equal to each other. So now we go through and we solve our equations. So add 2x to both sides. And my hand will be out the way in just a minute here as we solve these equations. Subtract 10 from both sides and divide by 11. So x equals 10. Okay. Not finished with the problem. All I've done so far is set these equal to each other because they were vertical angles. We went through, we did opposite operations where you do the one side, do the other side, all that good stuff. So that helped me figure out that x is 10 degrees. Now I'm going to take this 10 and you could do one of 2 ways. You can substitute it into x here, or you can substitute it into x here. It makes no difference whatsoever because these angles are congruent. I'm going to use 9x plus 10 because the numbers are a little smaller, a little easier to work with. So we're going to plug in 10 where my x goes. So that's going to be 9 times 10 plus 10. Okay. This is going to give me 100. So I know that this angle is 100. And these also are vertical angles, so technically I also know that this angle is 100 as well. So we now can do a linear pair. These 2 angles are beside each other. So if this is 100 degrees, if I'm trying to find the measure of angle 1, then I would do 180 minus 100. And the measure of angle 1 is 80 degrees. So the measure of angle 1 is 80 degrees. So step 1, recognize what type of angle pair you have. In this case, I realized that I had a vertical angles and I had a linear pair. We started with the vertical angle so I can get my specific number for x. Then we use that to substitute into our vertical angle. Then we use the fact that we had linear pairs. And we got 80 degrees. Okay. Example B. And we're trying to find what x is equal to. Again, step 1, recognize what kind of angles do you have. So these 2 are right beside each other. This is a straight angle and they make a linear pair. So this makes a linear pair. So linear pairs equal 180 degrees. So my equation is going to be 3x plus 12 plus x plus 28 equals 180 degrees. So these 2 together, add them all up, 180. Now we need to combine like terms. So I see that 3x and x go together. Those are like terms. That gives me 4x. I see that 12 and 28 go together. That's going to give me 40. From here, we do our thing. We solve our equation. The opposite of a plus 40 is to subtract 40 from both sides. And 180 minus 40 gives me 140. And divide both sides by 4. And we get that x is equal to 35. So x is equal to 35. So I recognize that this was a linear pair. They're right beside each other. We combine our like terms. X's go with X's. Constants go with constants. For here, we go through, we do our thing, and we solve the equation. Just a few things. Make sure you try to keep the equal sign in the same spot as you're working. What you do to one side, you got to do to the other side to keep your equation balanced. Okay. Letter C. This time we're trying to find the measure of angle 1. So I don't have enough information to set these equal to each other, but I do know that they're vertical angles. And I know that these are corresponding angles, but still I don't have enough information to do anything with these two. So let's work with what we do know. I know this angle and I know this angle. These are alternate interior angles. So alternate interior angles. So I abbreviated there. So we know from yesterday that alternate interior angles are equal to each other. So we can set up an equation. Ta-da. So we set up an equation. From here, we got options. I can subtract 15x, add 3, subtract 12x, or subtract 18. Makes no difference as long as we do the opposite operation. So I'm going to subtract 12x from both sides. That's going to give us 3x minus 3 equals 18. From here, the opposite of subtracting 3 is to add 3. So that gives me 3x equals 21. And divide both sides by 3. And we get x is equal to 7. Now, that's not my answer yet. That's just us solving to figure out what x is equal to. Since I'm looking for the measure of angle 1, I need to take the 7 and substitute it in for this x here. Because if I can figure out what this angle here is, then I know that these two are vertical angles. So I'm going to take 7 and make a substitution into this expression. So that's going to give me 15x minus 3. I'm going to plug in 7. And mental math or use your calculator, we get 102. So the measure of angle 1 is 102 degrees. Let's recap. Step 1, figure out what kind of angle pairs you're working with. Step 2, solve the equation. Step 3, substitute it back into the expression because we now have vertical angles. So these two are vertical angles. So we started the problem with alternate interior angles. Those were the where I wrote that there. And then these two are vertical angles. All right, let's try a few more so that you have plenty of examples to take a look at as you work. We are trying to find the measure of angle 1. So that is what we're looking for. So I got all kind of different angles and stuff going on here. Let's start with these two because that's probably going to give us the most information. We'll probably have to solve some sort of equation. These are same side interior angles. So same side interior angles. So we know from yesterday that same side interior angles equal 180 degrees. 12x plus 90 minus 2x equals 180 degrees. All right, let's do our thing. So lots of solving equations here. So we'll combine our like terms. The opposite of a plus 90 is a subtract 90 from both sides. And the opposite of multiplying by 10 is to divide by 10 so that we get x equals 9. So we got x is equal to 9. Now, not finished because it's asking us for the measure of angle 1. So I now need to take this 9, and it technically doesn't matter which one you substitute into because I can use these or I can use this one. So I'm just going to use the fact that this is a linear pair. So I'm going to use these two angles right here. So I'm going to take 9 and I'm going to substitute it in for x right here. So I'm going to take 9 and I'm going to substitute it in. So that's going to give me 90. I'm going to plug in 9. And that's going to give me 72. And I know that these two are a linear pair. So if this is 72, if I do 180 minus 72, that'll give me the answer to this problem. So this gives me 108 degrees. If you chose to use the other angle, again, it makes no difference at all. So if you chose to use this one, substitute 9 in here. These are corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, excuse me. So these are alternate interior angles, so they are congruent to each other. So option 1 is the way I did. Take 9, substitute it in, make a linear pair. Option 2, take 9 and multiply it and know that these are alternate interior angles. All right, 2 more just to make sure you're good to go, because we're going to be doing a lot of stuff with these in the coming days. We are looking for the measure of angle 1. So I want to start with this angle, and I want to start with this angle. So a few things that I know. If I take this angle here and put it here, these are corresponding angles. And then this corresponding angle with 3x would make a linear pair. So I know that I can set these equal to 180 degrees. So we have 3x plus x plus 10 equals 180 degrees. Combine like terms, x's with x's, numbers with numbers. So I'm just going through and solving this equation. Feel free to pause and solve your equations as we go over to make sure you're good to go. Divide by 4. And I got that x is equal to 42 and a half. So nothing's wrong with a decimal or fraction or anything like that. So we put our like terms together. Opposite of a plus 10 is to subtract 10 from both sides. Opposite of multiplying by 4 is to divide by 4. Not finished yet. I now need to take this x and I need to plug it into my one of my equations. It doesn't matter which one we plug it into, just as long as I plug it into one of the equations. I'm going to take the x and I'm going to plug it in right here. Okay, so I'm going to do 3x, substitute 42 and a half in, and that gave me 127.5. Now, this is a linear pair. So the last thing that we need to do, so since these two are a linear pair, and I just found that this angle is 127.5, I now need to do 180 minus 127.5, and that'll give us our final answer for angle 1. So 52 and a half degrees. So hopefully you see a pattern as all the ones that we've been doing so far. Figure out if they're equal to 180 or congruent to each other. Solve your equation. Take that given information and substitute it back in, and then subtract from 180 because it's probably going to be a linear pair. And last but not least, we have made it to letter F. So I got parallel lines here. This is a trapezoid. I got parallel lines, x plus 42 and 12 plus x. These actually make a linear pair. So if I pretend, let me use my green pencil here. If I extend this, that's a parallel line. If I extend this way, that's a parallel line. And then if I extend this way, I got my transversal. So these are same side interior angles. So these are same side interior angles, and they are equal to 180 degrees. So my equation is x plus 42 plus 12 plus x is equal to 180 degrees. From here, we go through and we solve our equation. We're going to combine like terms. So that's going to give me 2x plus 54 is equal to 180. Subtract 54 from both sides. We're just solving the equation. What you do to one side, do to the other side. And the opposite of dividing by 2 is to multiply by 2, and voila, we got x is equal to 63. So it may not look like it, but we did have two parallel lines for this problem. So we had same side interior angles.